Happy Thursday, everybody. It is me again, and yeah, I'm on another dock. Can you imagine? A truck driver sitting on a dock. Yes, well, here I am at 7 o'clock in the morning. We are at Great Northern Corporation in incredibly beautiful Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. I'm always reminded every single time I hear the name Chippewa Falls, for some reason or another, the Pat Metheny song, As Falls Wichita, So Falls Wichita Falls, jumps into my mind, except I start humming it in my brain, As Falls Chippewa, So Falls Chippewa Falls. See, that's a little glimpse into the psychotic realm of my brain. Yes, I'm a little bit out there. So anyway, now that I've provided that irrelevant information for you, we are getting loaded up right now, obviously. Yesterday we took that trailer that we picked up a shipment there in LaPorte, Indiana, of some sort of filtration system, something or other. And we dropped that off yesterday evening at Menards in Eau Claire. Didn't turn the cameras on. We've been there many times, obviously. For anybody who's followed my channel, we go there a lot. But it was kind of getting dark, and it wouldn't have come out very good on video. So I gave the cameras a rest. We dropped that loaded trailer. We picked up an empty and promptly went over to one of my favorite hiding spots in Eau Claire, which is the McDonald's on 312, on Route 312. So it's basically right outside the main gates of the Menards complex there. And that McDonald's has a pretty decent row of truck parking in there, and I was there early enough to squeeze in there and get a spot. So that's always a nice quiet spot to hide out when you're in Eau Claire. Of course, now that I've said that, well, my channel has no reach, so I'm not too worried about it. If my channel had like 1 million viewers or something and they were all truck drivers, I wouldn't be sharing that information, because I'd quickly find out that my favorite hiding spot had 600 trucks trying to get into it. So but no, I'm a little fish, and that's okay. I can share it with the few folks that I've got watching. Hey, if one of you guys drives, and if one of you is in Eau Claire and you want to use that, absolutely, by all means, go for it. It's a nice place to park. And if you're hungry, hey, there's a McDonald's within walking distance. How about it? So anyhow, we are picking up some cardboard displays that are going to Target Distribution Center in Joliet, Illinois, which is very close to our terminal, of course, in Plainfield, Illinois. Anybody who's familiar with the Illinois greater Chicago area knows that. So yeah, we will be getting this trailer sealed up and bringing it to Target. We're going to drop it loaded with the seal intact, and I'll just, if we have an empty there, I'll grab it and bring it back to the yard. If not, I'll just bobtail back to the yard, and that will be it for this week, because we have Friday off as a paid holiday. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, M&S1 does treat their drivers pretty nicely, so we do actually get holidays. Yay! So anyway, that's where we're at now, and we will check in later. So our journey is continuing down 94 from Eau Claire, and yeah, this hill is finally saving me from this jackass that I'm passing, and it's just another example of what I believe is becoming, unfortunately, kind of an epidemic in trucking, and that is these absolute idiots, like the asshole I just passed, that want to pace you anytime you try to pass them. So this guy is an example. In his little tanker, he was driving along 67, 68, 67, 68. Well, I'm governed at 70, right? So I want to drive 70. It's a wide open highway. I want to drive what the truck can do, right? The conditions warrant it. So that's all I want. I just want to do 70. I don't want to race anybody. I don't want to mess with anybody. It's just like, leave me alone. Let me do my 70, right? So I'm coming up behind this guy, and I'm getting closer and closer and closer, as you do, right, when somebody's driving slower than you, right? And this isn't just, you know, a short time. This is, I mean, this guy's consistently driving 67 to 68. He keeps fluctuating between the two. So, and I see this happening all the time. Now I swing out into the left lane, right? So, or as they say, the hammer lane. So, here's the deal, guys. If another truck is coming up behind you and you're in the right lane, okay, let's say you didn't realize that, you know, a car in front of you was slowing you down. Let's say you have adaptive cruise control, for an example, and I see this a lot. And you hadn't paid attention that the adaptive cruise control is, you know, taking you down from the 70 that you were driving, and now you're doing 65, right? Well, if a truck swings out into the hammer lane, and you see that in your mirror, your first instinct shouldn't be, oh, look down at my speed, oh shit, I'm doing 65, I want to do 70, and start speeding up. You do that, you're a asshole, alright? You just caused that other driver to swing out into the left lane. And I don't know about you, but, you know, driving a truck, I don't like being in the left lane. I don't want to be in the left lane. The only time I'm ever going to be out in that left lane is because I want to pass somebody who has been consistently driving slower than me. Now, I get it. There are inclines, right? There's hills, somebody's loaded heavy, blah, 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 right? So I'm content to stay behind a heavy loaded driver, especially if I know he's going to be flying on the downside, right? So if he slows down where I wouldn't necessarily going uphill, I'll still stay behind him most of the time. Sometimes I'll pass him if it's getting, you know, ridiculously slow. But for the most part, if I lose a few miles per hour going uphill behind him, I'll usually stick behind him if I've already seen that this guy is going to be flying on the downside, right? I don't want to be in his way. If he wants to make up that momentum on the downside, you know, I'm not going to be a rolling roadblock for him, right? So, you know, in time it balances out, right? When he goes flying down the downside and I don't, that builds distance between us, and eventually, you know, I catch up again, right? But, you know, once things flattened out, he'll probably be driving faster than me. So, fine, I'll stay behind him. But anyway, back to my point, you know, once a driver commits to that left lane, let him frickin' pass you, all right? If you didn't realize you were slowing down, well, you know, that's your bad. Don't punish the driver who's now passing you by pacing him. That's a dick move. I'm sorry. You're an asshole for doing that. You know, and this guy, like, you know, that I just passed, you know, I tried to get around that guy 3 times. And he's governed maybe higher than me, maybe not, I don't know. But every time I go to get around him, he's pacing me. And now I'm out there in the left lane, and we're side by side. And now we're a rolling roadblock. And I'm looking down at my speed. I'm doing the 70 max that I can do. And all of a sudden, this guy's doing 70. Where before he was doing 67, 68 until I went to pass him. You know, these guys, I swear to God, I wish we could put like an accessory on the truck, like a hydraulically operated boxing glove battering ram. You know, it's like when somebody does that to you, you know, just push a button and just have that thing come slowly out with a boxing glove. You don't want to scuff the guy's paint or scratch his wheels or anything, right? Just kind of slowly come out and just start pushing the onto the shoulder. Yeah, I kid, but not really. I would use it just because they deserve it. You know, and I'm a pretty easygoing guy, right? You know, I'm not out here, like I said, I'm not out here to race anybody. This isn't testosterone fest for me. You know, I don't need to show anybody how much of a macho man super trucker I am by, you know, oh, I got the fast, oh, I'm going to do this. All this aggressive bullshit that these guys do. It's like, come on, grow up. You know, we're not in 10th grade anymore, right? But yeah, this whole pacing when trying to pass, it's annoying as hell. And it's not just you know, I know there's going to be some guys, yeah, it's these new steering wheel holders. Well, guess what? Guess who else I see doing it all the time? Guys my age and older that are driving long-nosed Pete's and Kenworths. They do it too. So don't tell me it's all new drivers. Don't tell me it's all, you know, the mega carrier quote-unquote steering wheel holders, because that's absolute crap. I get that bullshit more from owner-operators than I do guys in company trucks. Sorry, it's just the truth. Usually the guys in company trucks, you know, they're governed. They're governed at, you know, most of them at 65, a few of them at 67, some at 68, and that's usually about it. It's pretty rare to have a governed truck at 70 like we do at M&S1. So it's usually not those, you know, fleet driving, mega carrier, whatever you want to call them. It's usually not those guys that are doing that bullshit. It's usually owner-operators, and it's usually guys that aren't governed. And, you know, guys that are owner-operators and guys that aren't governed, you should know better. I'm calling you out. You guys drive like shit. And not all of you, by any means, but the guys that do that, I'm sorry, you're assholes. And it's not a safe thing to do. It's not a nice thing to do. It's just a dick move. And I hope one day you might grow up and start driving a little bit more like a professional and like a grown-up man and not a 12-year-old child. So anyway, that's my rant. I'm going to continue on as I'm passing this Willis transfer truck that is a fleet truck that's governed at 65. Look, no problem. I go out to pass him. He's not speeding up. He knows I'm passing him. He doesn't give a shit because he knows we're not racing, right? Yeehaw! How difficult is it, you idiots? Anyway, end of rant. I will go back to enjoying my day. Well, it just occurred to me that I should probably add a little caveat about the whole passing and pacing topic. So, the one thing that might be a little bit different, or is a little bit different, if you're in the right lane and you look in your mirror and you see somebody swing out to pass you, you're not as big of a dick and you're not a total asshole if that driver is still a ways behind you. In other words, they're not pulling up along your side yet. They're still far enough behind you to where they can easily swing back into the right lane. If you at that point realize that you've gone down in speed and you see a guy swing out and he's far enough behind you and not right alongside of you, and you decide to go, oh shit, I'm going too slow, and speed up, I mean, yeah, you're annoying. Yeah, that was inconvenient. It's not the end of the world. No big deal. I think everybody that drives has done that. You know, so let's just chalk that move up to a no harm, no foul, right? So, you know, yeah, the guy just goes, oh, fuck, now he's speeding up, all right, fine, and you just get back into the right lane. It was a teeny bit annoying, but not enough to, like, you know, really get your blood going, right? So, no biggie. So in that case, not a big deal. What I'm talking about is when a truck is literally pulling alongside of you in the left lane, and you cause that to happen, and now you speed up and pace them or whatever. That's what I'm talking about. That's the dick move. So I just wanted to clarify that because it occurred to me that, yeah, that's a much less heinous offense, right? So just wanted to make that clear.